What's going on? Play here back with another episode video, and today we're taking a look at Lua, the new Ice Ranger in Epic 7. We're testing her out in Arena, and we're trying to see how well she does and whether or not she's an insanely broken unit. And this comes right after the proposed nerfs to one particular unit, which is Hua Young. But releasing someone with Lua's skill kit is definitely going to shake up the meta because she is very strong. She has S2 that pretty much sleeps one particular unit, and then she gets an extra turn. And so sleeping one unit is huge because you pretty much shut down one unit. You don't let them do anything for one turn. You'll see that we bring her with a cleave setup. She is pretty high base speed, so you're definitely gonna see her built very, very fast. And so she is a turn one unit. And so if you can't take turn one with her, you can potentially probably take turn two with her in like regular arena, right? Maybe you have someone else that goes before her. In some of my arena battles, we have Ran, that is the fastest unit that I have built right now, go before her. And it works really, really well because you hit everybody with Stigma, defense breaks, and then you follow up with Lua, which locks down one unit with sleep and then resets everybody's skill cooldown by one turn, which makes CR pushing, Hand Guy, Warhorn, Ravi CR push, all of that. It pretty much nullifies all of that and allows you to just follow up with an entire cleave or with an insane amount of damage after that. And so her kit is pretty loaded. Her soul burn is also pretty insane. She does have an ignore effect resistance soul burn on her S3. It's 20 souls, but it dispels one buff from all enemies before increasing skill cooldown. And after that, you still get an increased speed buff to your entire team. So that actually allows you to lap slower units. And the increased speed, it's a 30% increase to your speed. So if you're playing against, let's say like a counter team or a counter cleave team, right? Usually those types of teams are slower if they're not trying to speed contest you here. And they're going to rely on RNG and counters. And with that increased speed buff, if you're slightly slower than them, you're gonna lap. You're going to pass them on the CR bar and have a better chance of taking them out by taking more turns, right? Taking more turns than they do. You'll see that for the most part, she does land her debuffs. There's still 15%. That's still in effect in the game. But sleep is a huge one. Even though her skill 3 is a non-attack skill, sleeping whatever the unit is, for example, Politis with the S2 is huge because you sleep Politis and she can't proc her Astral Glide, right? That's her passive, the one that she has when there's a non-attack skill triggered. So you'll see in this one that we actually take out the Politis and with the S2, pretty good damage, by the way, and then reset this Caesarea and fire, or APOC Ravi, I should say. And then that pretty much nullifies the APOC Ravi from skill 3ing us, being able to revive somebody, and this Summer Isaria keeping her from S3ing us, detonating bombs. And another big thing that Lua has on her S1 is up to a 50% chance to defense break. And so you do have to Mola the S1 if you want that 50% chance to defense break. We have her on Grace of Unity right now, so it gives her 4 Molas on the S1. So it puts her chance to decrease defense up to 45. You need, I think, the +5 Molas to get it to 50% decrease defense, and that is pretty strong. So think about it. Everyone's reset. she's already skill 2, skill 3, she laps back around, and then you defense break and you finish the cleave, all right? And that really almost puts the nail in the coffin to whatever unit that you're trying to take out, because you're more than likely going to build her with a lot of effectiveness. We're running her on a speed set, about 120 effectiveness, and she's about 290 or 294 speed here, I think. So she's not in the 300 range. I don't have that kind of gear to give her 300 plus speed, but if you do, she's going to be really, really insane for you. I think in arena, she pretty much locks down the entire enemy team. Most of these, the team didn't do anything, right? The opposing team didn't even get to take a turn. You know, they're either controlled, they're reset, or they can only skill 1. And that pretty much guarantees you the win. You can just follow up with a cleave, an AoE. You know, that's why we brought in our Ida. We tested out strays, hitting them with that S3, nuking out 2 to 3 potential units. You know, Ran Lua works really, really well. Like I mentioned earlier, you get that stigma, which reduces CR, and then you get Lua's like little damage. The Beguile, which we didn't even talk about, which also chips away at the entire enemy team, right? If it lands on everybody, but it's deals damage equivalent to 10% of their max health. So the tankier the units, the more damage it's going to deal. So it makes her pretty good against tanky teams as well. If you're trying to cleave, right? It's going to chip away at them, making you take out the entire enemy team faster, right? Having to deal less damage because of that 10% damage that she's dealing with the Beguile. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it can definitely add up. So I'm interested to see how well she does in GVG. In arena, she's pretty much a monster if you can go first. So it's one of those units that it's looking like you might not want to pass on this unit, but there still hasn't been a limited unit. You know, Lua is a lot of fun. She does require a lot of effectiveness, and if you can give her the gear, she's going to do really well for you, I believe. And she does remind me of Conqueror Lilius, you know, when she first came out. You know, that fast unit that can pretty much lock everyone down, or at least lock one unit down, and then pretty much neuter the entire enemy team with attack breaks. But here you have Lua. Right now, as I mentioned, we have her at 294 speed, 120 effectiveness, and we got her on some bulk. We literally just slapped on our Conqueror Lilius gear onto Lua, and she performed really, really well in the games that we brought her in. You might be able to build her a lot more tankier, maybe with like less speed, and maybe about the same or even more effectiveness if you're playing her like on a slower build. She has that up to a 50% chance to decrease defense on the S1. So, I mean, you could always go on a counter build, right? Like counter degen, effect res or something. I don't know. But she does have up to 50% chance to defense break. Grace of Unity is a great way to test her out because you get the max molas on the S2 and S3. You know, Mola Priority here, you honestly don't need any molas in the S2 because this is pure damage. She does everything that she needs to do without having to mola her S2, which is Butterfly Reverie. Her S3, you know, honestly, this one, you're probably going to win turn 1. So you could potentially skip the molas on the S3. All it does is it reduces the cooldown by 1 turn on her S3, but I never got to S3, you know, more than once. The S1 is probably where you're going to want the molas, you know, getting that effect chance all the way up. Artifacts, you can run quite a few artifacts on her. You know, we tested out a few. We're still trying to figure out which one is going to work best for her. But I think that you have a few options. You have Glow Wings. She does have a non-attack skill. So if you want her to be more of a support unit, this grants a barrier equivalent to 15% of the caster's max health to all allies. So if you build her really, really tanky, this is going to give them some more survivability. You can even potentially go with Miss Confile. Now, Miss Confile is a limited artifact, but it has a 60% chance to decrease defense for 1 turn. So imagine slapping this on her, going with the S2, sleeping somebody and hitting them with a defense break, and that's just going to guarantee you a kill right out the bat. Guiding Light is another one that if you're not sure about your speed and you want to give her some more survivability, you might think about running Guiding Light, which gives her stealth for 1 turn. But let me know your thoughts about Lua. How has she fared for you? Are you still on the fence about pulling her? Let me know in the comment section below. Like always, if you haven't enjoyed the video, hit that like button if you haven't subscribed. Hey, think about subscribing. It really helps the channel grow and reach more people like you who like content like this. Like always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.